If you watch a lot of Premier League football, you will know that this is a harder debate than most people will think. Anthony Gordon versus Doku. Nubaid, I'm going to come to you first. Anthony Gordon, do you think he is better than Doku? If so, why?
People on Twitter are not going to like me because we like to watch Doku comps and they are good to watch. But Anthony Gordon is a results man. He is an absolute terror to play against. 11 starts, 5 goals, 3.447 XG, 6 big chances created, 1.4 successful dribbles per 90, by the way. I know we associate Doku with dribbling, but that's quite high for a winger that, for the most part, isn't asked to do that. He's also won 2 penalties. He's a pest to play against. And if you're a right back, and I gave you Doku and Anthony Gordon, you probably won't like to play against either of them. But if you're in possession, you still don't want to play against Anthony Gordon because he will not give you a second's rest. Anthony Gordon for me.
Jeremy Doku's one of the stories of the season this year. As a lot of people have spoken about, he has been devastating at times. But is he better than Anthony Gordon?
I really, really rate Anthony Gordon. I need to get that on the air before the tsunami come for me.
You two are
I have to. No, but no, I genuinely do think he's a brilliant player. But Doku to me is, I look at Doku and I think he's the kind of player we could talk about as a sort of an all-timer in 10 years from now. I think he's got such a special talent to his game. Like, probably the quickest feet in world football right now. And to have this impact in a team where it's so famously hard to adapt as a winger immediately, on the Guardiola side, for Pep just to throw out this possession-based style to an extent to trust Doku over a treble-winning Jack Grealish. I mean, he's been explosive. He's got 7 goal contributions already to Gordon's 8 in 3 less starts, which is really impressive. 0 big chances missed, by the way. He's not taking many chances, but I like that stat, and as much as we talk about 1.4 successful dribbles to Gordon, 4.3, literally 3 times as many as Gordon already. They are slightly different take on the winger role, I can admit that. But Doku, Gordon's brilliant, but I think Doku could be special.
Yeah, I think that's what's difficult here is that you look at the stats for Anthony Gordon, and in particular, the one with Doku, 4.3 successful dribbles to Anthony Gordon's, and they're both supposedly playing as wingers. I mean, that's odd. And I think the thing with this debate is it's what do you want here? Do you want who's a better player, who maybe is a bit more well-rounded? I think you could lean towards Anthony Gordon from that side of it. But in terms of uniqueness and being box office, and just being outrageously good at one thing specifically, and I think he has other assets and he'll get better, I don't think we've seen a dribbler like this, who is as much of a savage as he is.
His passing is better than people realise too. Like the 4 assists, of course, against Bournemouth, 2 in particular were really small passes. The one to Bernardo, like it was De Bruyne arrest, pass from distance. I honestly believe, I think the ceiling limit of Doku, I think of someone like Eden Hazard. I think he's good. I mean, he might not get there, but imagine him 2 years under Pep. What he could do to his game. It could be insane.
I think we're also comparing, essentially, I would say, Sterling and Mahrez here. You got Anthony Gordon, who I think will eventually score more goals than Doku.
Yeah.
But then you've got Doku, who's like Mahrez, that you just purr at some of the things that he does and you just scratch your head. Sterling was obviously like that at the start, but I mean later on Sterling. They're really difficult to compare. Yeah. But I think they're both very suited to their teams, and I wouldn't want to play against either of them. That would be where I decide it. Who do you not want to play against the most?
Do you know the way I will decide it, and let's know, of course, but the way I would decide it is who will be on an all-time list at some point, or when it's all said and done. And I feel like Doku will be, when you're talking about dribblers, certainly in the modern era, I think he's going to be a top 3.
I think a lot of people are going to fall in love with football a little bit more than they did previously because of Jeremy Doku. I think he's a reminder to when you were a kid at school trying to meg your mate or whatever. And I think he's a bit of a throwback. And to be honest, I find it really refreshing right now. I think football needs Jeremy Doku.